Welcome. This is a brief recording to help students, teachers, whomever prepare for our grade 4 Unit 2 assessment, our assessment 2 from the district. And there's 25 questions. And I'll show you a big frame of the plan from our district regarding testing and what our students need to do and what the parents need to help cover with our kiddos. And then we will go down to each question, because what I'm finding mainly with students is when they prepare for an extensive assessment like this, that they just need more practice on what the questions are actually asking. So let's look at this right now. The purpose is if you understand what the question is asking you to solve, then you will have a better chance of selecting the correct answer. Let me read that again. If you understand what the question is asking you to solve, then you will have a better chance of selecting the correct answer. Assignment. So for the students, when you watch this recording, I just need you to copy down the questions and the question stems and then highlight the key academic vocabulary, and I will model that for you. But so you know what this looks like, here is the plan. Look at that. That is everything that will be covered this year for Common Core State Standards Grade 4 by unit. So we are already on Unit 2. Every single one of these could be multiple lessons. Okay, so if I zoom in for Unit 2, right here, we will just focus on those standards. You can pause the screen. Remember, that's why I like YouTube. You can pause it, you can mute me, and you can just see where we're at. Okay, but this is an extensive amount of information to cover. Now, if that seems overwhelming, this will help to hopefully simplify it, and this is really what's going on. So coming up on, now this is 2019-2020, so each year will be different, and I'm not going to do this recording every single year unless the plan changes. So you can see for District Assessment 2, these are the standards that are being covered. All right, so for instance, when I say standard RL3 inference and comprehension questions, I'm not going to read the entire standard every single time. There'll be other recordings for that. So you could see that that standard would be about characters, settings, and events in a story. What does the character think, the words that they use, and actions. All right, those will be other recordings. Right now, the purpose is just question stems. So I'm going to show you what this looks like as actual questions on the test. Okay, so here's a guide that each student has, and we use them a lot in centers and reading groups. And again, just the more you see the questions, the more you get comfortable with how they are asked, and just getting used to the language will make you a better test taker. Okay, so let's get going. All right, the first standard that is covered is SL2, SL3, speaking and listening. So it's 1 through 5. All right, I'm just going to read the question straight out and then identify some key academic language in pink, and then maybe just a couple tricks. In the future, there'll be more recordings basically for each question and tricks test takers use to get better test scores. It's as simple as that. All right, number 1, what is the most likely purpose of this presentation? You see a lot of these questions a lot. Keywords most likely. Purpose. Why was it created? Okay. So for this one, they are watching a video. Why did the author create the video? Okay. By far the most important word is purpose. Okay. So for students, you just copy down the question, highlight the key academic vocab words, some quick notes. Now for the SBAC and for our district test, which are kind of modeled after each other, our district's trying to mimic the SBAC as much as possible. Okay, the questions follow like this. There's always an A and then there's a B. For instance, the following questions has 2 parts. First answer part A, then answer part B. Part A. Now here's what's tricky. If you get part A wrong, you will get part B wrong. Okay, so make sure you get part A right and then prove it with part B. Here's how it looks. Part A, number 2, what does the detail mean? In other words, you should be able to explain it. All right. Then after you pick your answer for 2, you go to part B, which detail from the presentation, here's that keyword again, best supports your answer in part A. So this means prove it. Sorry. IT. Okay. What line number did you find it on? But since this is a video recording, your notes, okay? What notes do you have to prove it? Keyword, best, and also supports. Remember, in part A. So whatever your answer is in part A, you need to prove it. Moving on, number 4, according to this presentation, why is, they'll put information there, important? And number 5, based on the presentation, which of the following, and then they'll have something there, then examples. Remember, the purpose of this recording is just so you see the question stems. More will come down the road for every single question, but that takes a lot of time. Okay? Right now, just seeing words like most likely, purpose, best, knowing that if you have an A, part A, then you have a part B, you always need to prove it. That's a starting point. There's the first 5. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. So here you go. You see it again for numbers 6 through 8, which is standard RL3 and RL4. Notice how it says this question has 2 parts. First answer part A, then answer part B. Part A, part B. Which inference can be made about the... Now for these questions, they're going to have a character in there. So you read a story. How does that character change? What does the character say, do? How does the character act? What problem was solved? But what's really important is, if you don't know what the word inference means, forget it. What is an inference? It is an educated guess. Since you are reading a bunch of words in the story, make sure that you use clues. Okay? So kids who are reading at grade level tend to, most of the time, always do better on these assessments. If you're reading below grade level, the trick is the more you read, the better you're going to get. But watch this. Inference. Inference. You'll see the word inference a lot. Number 7. Which sentence from the passage best, there's the keyword best again, supports your answer in part A? So whatever answer you pick for 6, you have to prove it in 7. Okay? So write down prove it. Okay, what line number? And then for the next 2 questions, same pattern. What inference can be made about they'll give a character. So what are you learning from the character? And then read the sentences from the passage. They'll give you some sentences, some examples. Okay? And then for number 9, it says, what does the word blank suggest about the blank? I know that might be kind of confusing, but they'll give you a sentence and you kind of have to figure out what it means. Okay? And that will definitely look way better when it's a recording with a concrete example. Let's move on to the next questions. I want to keep this to less than 15 minutes. Right now, it's already 9 minutes. So check this out again. Okay, this question has 2 parts. First, answer part A, then answer part B. So again, you're going to have A, then B. You see the word inferences again. But now this time, you see the word author's point of view supported by the text. So check this out. And if I'm going too fast, just freeze this or pause it on YouTube. And then you can see right away what pops out. If you're a teacher or student, you can pop this on your smartboard and just freeze the screen, and then you have the question stem there, and you can mute my voice. Okay? Which of these inferences, educated guess, clues about the author's point of view is supported by the text? Okay? So when you see the author's point of view, that means what did they want to teach the reader? Right away, if the author was an adult versus an author as a student, the story changes. If it's written in first person compared to third person, the story can change. Okay? Part B, number 11. Which two sentences from the passage best support your answer in Part A? Keyword best again. Another word for passage is story. So whatever answer you pick for 10, you need to prove it. So you'll find a line. Look at this one again. 12 and 13. Very similar. If you have A, then you have B. We see the word inference again. Which of these inferences about the author's point of view is supported by the text? 13, which sentence from the passage best supports your answer in Part A? So whatever you choose for 12, you have to prove it in 13. All right, we're at 11 minutes. Next questions. This question has two parts. So again, you see a Part A and a Part B. Okay, what conclusion about, it doesn't matter what the character is, okay? What conclusion about whatever character is supported by the passage? Number 17, which sentence from the passage best supports the answer to Part A? So you will have to prove it again. Keywords. Conclusion. Best. Supports. I'll give you time to look at those. Quick way for conclusion. What did you learn about the main character? Okay. Remember, these are all stories. Done with that one. Let's keep going for the marathon. Just reading all the questions takes forever. 18, 19, and 20. 18 looks like this. Read the sentence from the text. They'll give you a sentence. What does the phrase, and then you have to figure out what the sentence means. 19, read the sentence from the text. They'll give you another one. What does the phrase, again, we see the words most likely. Number 20, we see the words most likely again. Author's intent. By mentioning, they'll give you an example in the text. Let's highlight most likely. So most time students get down to two answers and you have to pick the best answer, okay? Remember, intent is why the author did it, okay? Done with those. Moving on. We're at 12 minutes, 45 seconds. Are we gonna make it? And then the test ends with a bunch of examples for writing. Okay, now I'm gonna move the phone over so you can see a little better. And I'm just going to read these straight out. A student is writing a story for a teacher about her first time who knows what. First time swimming, first time diving, first time riding the bike. Read the draft of the story and complete the task that follows. For all of these questions, the story is only about 8 to 10 sentences long, but you will choose the best statement to replace. In other words, we are making these writings better, okay? They like the words more clear, to make the student's meaning more clear. And the best way of doing this is to write a lot and then change your wording. But that takes lots of practice. Number 22, a student is writing a story for language arts about learning to, they'll give you an example, a different topic. Read the draft. So these are all drafts of the story and complete the task that follows. Again, this is going to be about 8 to 10 sentences long. Okay, the goal is to make the meaning clear. The student wants to make sure that he has used the right words to make his meaning clear. Select 2 of the underlined words that he should change. This is tricky because in order to get 22 right, you have to pick 2 correct answers. I think we're going to make it. This is a marathon. That's 14 minutes. Here we go. Number 23, lightning speed. A student is writing a story for a teacher about, they'll give you another topic. Read the draft. A draft is, there are a lot of mistakes. Okay, it's one of the first times maybe the writing was ever done. Remember, writing is a process. You need to go back and change, add, delete, and keep making it better. So a draft is, there's a lot of errors. Read the draft of the story and complete the task that follows. They'll give you 6 to 10 sentences. Choose the best phrase to replace to make the writer's meaning more clear. 24, a student is writing a story for a teacher about a family's trip to, so think of all your vacation trips. Read the draft of the story and complete the task that follows. So you're seeing a pattern here. You are revising all of these short passages, okay? Which of the following descriptive phrases, you want to visualize this, would best replace the underlying detail, okay? Look at the word best popping out. Best, best, best. Every single one has the word best. Okay, let's wrap this up. 25, we're at 15 minutes. A student is writing a journal entry for his teacher about, okay, it could be about recess or something else. Read the draft of the journal entry and complete the task that follows. Again, you will choose the best phrase to replace. They'll give you an example to make the writer's meaning more clear. Just by reading all the question stems, that took 15 minutes. Most of the time, this district assessment, 25 questions, again, it's given 4 times out of the year. This is for number 2, our second assessment of the year, and it takes at least 2 days to finish. I know that's a lot. There'll be more recordings for each one, but that's going to take a while too. The purpose was just to see how the questions are even being asked. Have fun with that later.